I've got a tattoo on my arm, and it's got the suffragettes, one of my favourite of the suffragette sayings, which deeds not words. And the dentist said, "Oh, that's a lovely tattoo. Where's that phrase come from?" And I explained it to her, and I said, "Yeah, they're the most successful domestic terrorist group that the UK has ever seen."
Welcome, Fedi Friends, to episode 53 of Fireside Fedi. I'm your host, Ozoned. Fireside Fedi is a show about folks within the Fediverse. If you're hearing this, you are part of the Fediverse. With me today is Liz and Caspar with Media Revolution. Established, and I love this. I looked this up on their page, and I love this, and I'm going to read a massive chunk. So if you don't want to hear all about Media Revolution, come back in a couple minutes, and then we'll learn more about Liz and Caspar. But established in October 2024. Happy anniversary, by the way. In London, UK, Media Revolution is a new collaborative, self-organized working group. The people involved are laser focused on the media being the primary route to real change around the world. With deep roots in national level climate, social justice, and transport campaigns in the UK, they're experienced and incredibly determined. Their core team is small but growing, and they're reaching out internationally. This is a global campaign. Key outcomes of the revolution. And there's a lot of information. If any of this sounds good, please go check out mediarevolution.org. I'll have information below the video or the audio, but just a couple of things again from their site. I have blood on my shirt. Oh my God. Oh, that's fine. That's just, So for the audio listeners, I have red handprints. My family and I put red handprints for Halloween. Supposed to look like blood. Yes. Key outcomes of the revolution. The following outcomes may serve as guideposts for this success. And again, I'm not going to read everything, but the bullet points are beyond regulation, empowered collaboration, holistic change, a thriving revolution. And there's a 3-point plan: unite, collaborate, coordinate. This is a lot to get into, and it's amazing that you could boil it down to such small points. But anyway, Liz and Caspar, who I think we can all agree Caspar is an excellent name, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining me. How would you both like to be addressed?
Revolutionaries?
Revolutionally? Okay.
Good to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Your shirt looks great.
Thank you. We tried. I mean, it is, I guess, kind of morbid that it's my kid's hands on my shirt that's bloody, but Halloween, right? And they made it for me. So it's super
I guess
special.
I love
it. Yeah. So it's Liz and Caspar, right? She, her, he, him.
Oh yeah. She, they.
Okay. She, they. Okay. He, they. Okay. And then the way we normally get every show started is, how did both of you get to where you're at today? Include as much as you want, leave out as much as you want. We have some people that say, I was born and here's my life story. And then other people just talk about, the last couple of years. So it's up to you.
Well, maybe I'll start with today. No, I'm just
That's fine.
I woke up this morning and I thought, I don't know, how about a revolution? No, it was probably shortest I need to go back to. I worked in media for a while. I was in radio. I then had my own company doing graphic design, branding, marketing, search engine optimization, social media, that kind of stuff. And I ran that for 20 years before I realized that, I was, environmentally aware and aware that there was just sort of an ongoing, decline of nature that was aligned with the increase of consumerism, and I was part of that problem, and I didn't want to be anymore. Yeah. So I joined the climate movement, in particular Extinction Rebellion at the time was just popping onto the scene. So I joined and I got on the street, and then I became a coordinator and organizer, and I ran some really big marches and big shutdown of mines and getting arrested and stuff. And it really showed me how to use what skills I'd got from previous experiences in a really positive way. And I was hooked and I wasn't going to do anything else. And then I guess I experienced the the lens issue, the issue of the lens, the media filter that we're living under, that any activism or any protest or any, you're silenced, you're othered, whatever your cause is, if it's human rights, if it's civil liberties, whatever the issue is, the environment, you are, at the mercy of media coverage. And so I met Caspar. Well, I've known Caspar for many years. Caspar was already media obsessed, and he showed me the way of, it's media. We used to have this little joke, it's the media. And then we sat down and we said, right, what's going on in the media landscape and what needs to happen? And lo and behold, we decided that we needed to do some coordinating and bring our skills to the Media Revolution campaign, which we concocted over the last year. That's me.
That's and Caspar, we'll get to you in a second, but like I love that you were a part of the system, so you know how it all works. You know the intricacies, at least from your experience, and now you're using that. That's one of the things on the Fediverse that a lot of people are like, well, I don't know how to help. Well, what do you know to do? What do you like to do? I am not a software developer. I could read the activity pub spec. There's no way I'm going to be able to create anything for it. So you just give back in whatever way you can. You're doing the things that no one else is doing that you can find that are just like, I'm just going to try. You're just throwing it out there. Right. And I love that you call it Media Revolution, because it was Christine Lemmer Weber. She's a co-author of Activity Pub. And at one point she said, the revolutionaries are the people that show up. And it's really that easy and that simple. And that's incredible. I love that. So Caspar, I mean, you have to have a better story than that, because if you don't, you have to hang up now.
I have a different story to that.
Different story. Okay.
I'll
be the judge of whether it's better or not. So
yeah, totally. But I'm going to actually start it when I was 17, because when I was 17, I was doing a training system over here called YTS, Youth Training System, working in the last bus garage on Dartmoor. So I grew up in a rural part of the country, which is where I basically got my love of nature from. It's the least populated part of the country, and it's on a giant place called Dartmoor. Lots of old Neolithic remains and Stone Age remains and stone circles and giant tools and stuff. But anyway, there I was, 17 years old, working in this bus garage, and part of my job was to run the taxi to the few people that lived outside of the range of the bus service.
Oh, wow.
And one of those little girls was called Liz Pendleton, who used to pick up in the cab from school. So I knew Liz when I was just leaving school and Liz was still going to secondary school. Then there's a very, very long gap where our lives sort of like diverged and then came back together to do this. But after that, I went to so I basically finished my mechanics training in the middle of a recession, couldn't get a job. So I went to London, ran off, like so many people in the UK, ran off to London, went to music school and went to music college. And like so many people that went to music college, when I left music college, I became a cycle courier, which is a perfectly normal route for And then within a little while, I ended up running the largest cycle courier department in London. And that gave me a whole load of logistical skills that, in a very unusual fashion. And also I started campaigning on transport issues because a cycle courier got killed by a lorry driver. And then I started campaigning with a group called Stop Killing Cyclists, where I met my campaigning mentor, a man called Donica McCarthy. And that was basically the start of my campaigning career, I suppose I'd call it. But I mean, it's Stop Killing Cyclists were great. It was direct action in London. When people were killed, we would go and take over the roads and hold a ceremony to mark their passing, and blocking all the traffic. We would get the family involved, the family of the deceased. And Boris Johnson, our Prime Minister, attributes the building of the cycle lanes in London. So it was a Conservative Prime Minister in the UK that really pushed hard for the start of the cycle lanes in London. And he said that Stop Killing Cyclists generated a conversation amongst the general public that that the people cycling needed to stop being killed, and lit a fire under their administration to crack on and build that cycling lane network.
Oh, wow.
So my first taste of direct action was successful. And I thought, oh, okay, I want more of this, please. And then up popped Extinction Rebellion. And I was one of the 15 people that was arrested at the launch of Extinction Rebellion. It was my first arrest. And I got involved, you know, so and I got involved at the end of things that is often like the sticking to, smashing stuff, blocking stuff end of things. It's just where my skills lie, unfortunately. Well, or fortunately, I don't say unfortunately. I should
no,
say,
that's
unfortunately. It's great fun.
Yeah, no, that's again, you start to learn that experience over time is not knowledge, right? Your experience is all the knowledge that you gain and then how you apply it.
Yeah.
And it's led you to where you are today. You are at the right place in time to be you.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
And it's, you know, and I'm just editing myself as I'm saying this. When I say it's great fun, I find myself in this bizarre position. You know, I've been arrested like 9 times. I've got friends are in prison and spent a long time in prison. And at the same time, I have never been as fulfilled as I have been in the last 5 or 6 years doing this as at any other point in my life. I've had some great decades. I loved being a cycle crew. It was great fun. But this is more fulfilling, doing this, creating
fulfilling and fearful, right? Because on the back of the door in my house, on the front door, inside of the front door is a sign that says to my, because I've got housemates, and it says, "Is it the police? Don't let them in without a warrant," just to remind them that if we get endorsed by the police, you know, don't let them in. And like, so, you know, I'm living, and I know Caspar is too, and I got my last arrest was probably 4 or 5 weeks ago. And they're coming after people who are taking action. So they're coming after your tech, they're coming after you to mess with you, to come and give you a house raid. And, you know, so there's a level of fear that's there, but also that purpose, it's totally like embedded in the drive factor as well. So I just want to
into everything that we're doing. You know, you can, I don't know if you can see that so my phone has got my name on the back. My son's phone has got his name on the back, and my partner's phone has got her name on the back, because when the police come and raid, they want to take my stuff, so they don't want to take the other stuff. So we just make it easy.
And that's one of the things that you come to realize, right? Is those little things that you haven't done before. I've never been arrested. I hope to never be arrested. I hope that if I am ever arrested, it's for doing something I believe in and doing it the right way.
Totally.
Right.
We've gone really radical really quickly here, haven't we?
I blame Liz.
Anyway,
Liz,
that's my life story up until now.
Liz is a troublemaker. You could say it.
Oh yes. Oh God, yeah.
No, there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, first off, as an American, I default to like when I see someone walking across the road and I'm driving, it's like, get the fuck out of the road. What are you doing in the road? And then come to realize that that's 100 years of change. There was a time where all of this was for people to walk on, to get around, bicyclists to travel, and then cars were, you know, a third. The human life was more important. Now it's get out of my way. I'm more important than the other thing. And that is crazy to think about.
So it's one of the, you know, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole very much at all, but you know, jaywalking is illegal in the States, and it's not illegal over here, you know, and that's one of the fundamental differences of how we approach our public realm compared to how you approach your public realm.
Yeah. You're muted. Liz, we can't hear you.
Sorry, folks. I'm back with you. I was going to say there's a segue straight back to media, because the motor normative, what's the word?
Motor normative or car brained. You know, our media over here is very car brained. People driving have more rights than people walking.
Yep.
According to the media. And it's the same in the States.
Well, and it's funny because the way that they pitch it in such a thing like, you know, motor vehicle accidents have gone down this year. There was a time when they were 0 because they didn't exist, right? Like we don't, and we have the technology to not need to rush from place to place, but we don't have the time.
we actually have the technology to get from place to place faster than we do if we were to drive. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah. So then where was it that, and I can only imagine. So you hadn't seen Liz in a long time, right? And then all of a sudden you're somewhere and you two just bump into, you're like, oh my God, Liz? Liz? And you're like, Caspar, it's been forever. You're like, hey, you want to go fuck some shit up? Let's go. How does
I think it was something like that, because we'd probably seen each other, our families, and my family is around here. I moved away but came back. But we definitely reconnected around the time of the big one, March, which was 100,000 people in London marching.
Wow.
With it was like a really diverse group of people, all different walks of life, all different kind of issues. And I know that you were there for that as well, Caspar. And I think we were reconnecting around about that time.
Just before.
So
no, I was supporting you to help you organise that.
Right. That's right. So yeah, but we were also, so the movement that we were in, Extinction Rebellion, amazing movement, and has done some incredible things, and we're both like, you know, real advocates for, especially like the ways of working which we've inherited. A lot of decentralized and grassroots organizing groups have learned a lot from Extinction Rebellion, but there's definitely like been a shift in the way that protest groups are policed in the UK, and it's been very restrictive to the operational kind of strengths of the group that we were in. So, you know, we've evolved a little bit alongside the protest group that we were both in then.
Not to make light of the militarization of police and how they interact with peaceful protesters, but again, I just imagine like you two are at a protest together, and you both, like, they throw a tear gas can and you both reach down to be, you know, to grab it, to throw it back, like, oh my God, it's Liz, oh my God, it's Caspar. Like rom-com style. That's just how my brain works. Sorry, not to make, you know, again,
we met over a bucket over a smoke grenade.
yeah.
Over a smoke grenade.
Yeah. So how long have you guys have rejoined up? And was this right when Media Revolution started, or like how does this story lead into the starting of Media Revolution, which is we're taking on all of the biggest media in the world, which is so I have a nonprofit organization to try and promote like privacy, digital rights, called BT Free. And when I went into the bank to make it official, they're like, okay, well, how much, you know, who are your competitors? It's like Google. And they're like, oh, well, good for you. And I was like, thank you. Yeah. It's like, I don't know how to answer that honestly, but like, yeah, just everyone that's awful that we all hate. So but how do we get to the starting of Media Revolution? Because it's not that old. It just started. Right?
Yeah. Actually, that's what taking on Elon Musk wasn't on my bingo card for this year, but you know, turns out like that's hey, well, someone's gotta. So we're gonna give it a go. I think there was a project that was inside the climate activism space, which was looking at how protest groups and how the climate issues were misrepresented in the tabloid papers, right? Broadly in the tabloid papers. There was a little group of people who, there's a fantastic guy called John Fuller, props out to John. He, for 5 years, bought every single mainstream newspaper out of the newsagents and went through every page looking for how are they reporting the climate crisis and how are they reporting on protests about the climate crisis. He diligently took a photo of each of those articles and uploaded it into a WhatsApp group which had about 150 activists in, who were keeping an eye on what's the media narrative, how are they representing the protests, how are they reporting the climate crisis. And we were both in that group as well and became volunteers to help when John stepped back. He'd done 5 years of reading the, like, do you know what I mean? Like how he was still saying at the end of that, I will never know. But he also set up a group of a sort of meeting of activists and organizers to talk about really what he'd been seeing in those 5 years and what we're going to do about it. And we were in that meeting, and we basically saw, you know, a great opportunity in the room from people who were interested and had lots of kind of passion for the problem, talking almost like slightly at odds with each other about what the solution was. Oh, we've got to do this, and we've got to do that. And it was like, it was a bit sort of frenetic, but we mapped out at that point that a lot of the conversation fell under some main responses, 4 core responses of what to do. So it's either replace the media with something better, regulate it better, radicalize, go to the root of the message, better representation, or resist. And in the room, there was like a dialogue of like, which one was best, which should we do first, or which one's going to have most impact.
Sure.
And we came up with this theory that actually it's about the overlaps. If that's a Venn diagram, there's a sweet spot in the middle where we can work together. And that was where the idea for Media Revolution came from. And we spun off instantly into like action of talking to people and trying to work out how we could make this come to pass.
Coordinated collaboration, I should say. Yeah.
So okay. Whew, there's a lot there. So you, wow.
I mean, this is, we're in this, you're going to keep coming across this, Anthony, but, we both had slightly different roles in that, as, in the climate movement as well. So I was very much from the very beginning of the inception of this, the big group Extinction Rebellion that has made some massive changes to the government over here. Right from the very beginning, with my mentor, a man called Donica McCarthy, we were in there lobbying them sometimes with John Fuller, who Liz has just mentioned, that they should be targeting the media, and they shouldn't be targeting the media in a traditional way. They should be targeting the media not as supplicants, but as a structural pillar of power. And so we were doing that from the very beginning, and that meant that I got to organise some big actions like blockading the biggest printing press in the world, which happens to be just outside London and is owned by Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox Media over there,
whose name will come up again later in the show. Wink, wink.
But and the other things, so we were. I've speaking as me in this case, I've always been pushing for a prioritization of targeting the media as a structural power.
And that's the interesting thing here is there's at the moment, and I'm sure it's probably always been this way, but we've never been globalized and can reach out and do a video chat as much as we can now. So we're aware of all the issues, but for any one person, there's too many. You cannot take on everything. Find something that you are most passionate about and put your full effort into that, right? Like we can all agree, or well, I can agree that I feel a lot of the direction a lot of countries are heading are specifically because of the way things are portrayed either in standard media or in social media. There's been, I'm again American, there's been a large party that has been constantly saying that they are being oppressed and they're becoming a minority, and we all call it out as bullshit because it's a bunch of old white men, but people listen to them. So you are targeting these different aspects at a focal point, and that focal point is the media. What kind of media? Are we talking old print? Are we talking new TV shows? I have NPR, for instance, and while they try to remain unbiased, we all know we're human. We're not unbiased, right? So, or is it social media, or is it all of them? Like how do you guys tackle, again, Rupert Murdoch, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos?
Well, here's the thing. They're not separate. There's a really important distinction to make here, and there's a good example of that with one of the most toxic newspapers in the UK, which is the Daily Mail.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You'd think of them as a newspaper, but they output up to 100 videos a day on TikTok. So they are social media too, right?
Right. Yep.
It doesn't matter. And they also, the billionaire owners own YouTube/TV stations, which are constantly outputting content. So we have TV stations in the UK that are owned by the same people who own the newspapers and own the So it's they're not fussed what platform we're consuming it on. It's one and the same output. It's billionaire bullshit. Oh, I mean,
no, you can
it's
swear.
billionaire brainwashing.
No, it's bullshit. No, it is bullshit.
Yeah, and it's I think it's the same to say it's not like across the board the same level of bullshit, and it's not the same type of bullshit, but ultimately it will track back to if it's being paid for by the billionaires.
Right.
It's bullshit. There's going to have division in it. It's going to have divisive language. It's going to have disinformation in it. It's going to be there to control a narrative or create a certain kind of reaction and response from people, because it's corporate, so they're doing clicks and readership for money, and that means they perpetuate the same kind of output.
Well,
so you don't need to tackle like just Elon Musk or just you need and it also like going to tackle Elon Musk is like, well, probably quite difficult because he's actually got a lot of money. But actually, if we start with people don't want to consume billionaire bullshit, they just don't know that that's what's happening. So we start with an education piece, we start with empowerment, we start with grassroots learning, we start with media literacy that looks at the problems, not just empowering you to become more protected, but like, let's look upstream. How do we divest our attention economy from those toxic systems into something better? And that's where movement media comes from. Well, it's a thing already, but we're just amplifying that, which, as you know from the Fediverse, is one of those things.
And I it's interesting because we were talking before the show about any one person having this much power. And for anyone that's out there listening right now and you're like, well, I would never direct a narrative like that. If someone was doing an expose on you about some private thing that you are private, but you are a person of power and you have the ability to squash it or at least change it, it's very addictive to do that, right? If I have the power to influence anyone's opinion or anyone's narrative about me, you get to that point, or you dismiss them and your millions of followers are like, oh, well, they're just an idiot then, right? Like no one should have this much power, this much influence, this much money. There was, I want to say it was like 5 or 10 years ago, a YouTube video that came out that showed all of the different, so the way in the US that we did it was we had different, what were they called? News organizations all around, but they were still the same, like Fox. And it was like 15 minutes long of every single broadcaster stating the exact same thing. And it was fucking creepy. Because that one person came up with that, and now literally that just instantly got dispersed to millions of people.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
I think there's a modern philosopher who I do not agree with an awful lot about, but he is called Stephen Bannon.
A modern philosopher. Okay, yep. I'm familiar with.
He's from a very different politics to me. He has very different politics to me. But one of the things that he often says is not, it's I can't remember where he gets this quote from, but always look upstream. What form above what how does culture come about? The politics and culture, and basically he'll always go upstream, and he always stops at the top, and the top is media for him. So culture is downstream of media, politics is downstream of culture,
and like the just simple words. Again, we look at it as like, how can it have that much control? Prisoner versus hostage. That's huge. There's two huge differences. Who gets to decide, right? And those imply two massively different things while also ending up in the same result, right?
Totally. I was in a dentist chair just the other day, and I've got a tattoo on my arm, and it's got the suffragettes, one of my favorite of the suffragette sayings, which deeds not words. And the dentist said, oh, that's a lovely tattoo. Where's that phrase come from? And I explained it to her, and I said, yeah, they're the most successful domestic terrorist group that the UK has ever seen. And she went, oh, what?
Right.
And I said to her, "Oh God, you know, you wouldn't have the vote if it wasn't for them. They were incredible." And she was like, "Oh, I thought that you were. I didn't realise that you supported them." And you know, there's two things. I was sitting there going, "Yeah, I'm not going to get a tattoo on my arm of something I hate." But the other thing I was just sitting there thinking was, "Oh, that was really an interesting reaction to the framing, because you know they were arsonists and bombed 360 bombs in 18 months, and they have been peace washed. But you know, now everybody sees them as heroes."
Yeah, and my latest arrest is on terrorism charges for holding up a sign.
Yeah.
That literally says, "I oppose genocide. I support Palestine action." That's what my sign said. And so, you know, I waited for 10 hours to get arrested by 6 police officers, and now I am a supposed terrorist.
I mean, in the United States, we're facing the same thing, right? Anti-fascist organizers, which they don't exist because it's a loose term of grouping of people, right? And now they can classify as anyone that's terrorist. And this
is language. This is the control. This is the control of language. It's that, you know, it didn't start with gas chambers. It started with language.
Propaganda.
Yeah. I mean, not to make light of it, right? But everyone knows Star Wars. What is a rebel? Someone rebelling against the government. And in that instance, the Empire is the government. They have every right to protect themselves. So you're just a terrible, rebellious terrorist, whereas the other side sees themselves as freedom fighters. Now, that is very much a black and white situation, and this is not. But that's literally what it comes down to. Those little words make massive differences. I remember, and this haunts the shit out of me, Barack Obama, when he was in office, he signed a budget that added on to it that anyone classified as a terrorist can be held within the United States without trial forever. And his response was, "Well, I'll never use it." That's nice. He's going to be in office forever, right? Oh, no, he's not. So this is a little bit more morbid than we really talk about, but
yeah, but like that
but it's real. It's important.
You need the conditions to come around, you know, to come about with revolutionary action. It's the conditions that have become, you know, we're acting because, and I'm privileged. I'm white. I'm born in the UK. I've got, you know, stable upbringing, and able-bodied, and all those other things.
Yep.
And you know, I'm oppressed still, like in the weirdest way. Like, you know, you wouldn't. It's a real like head spinner. And when you realize that, and then you start doing something about it, it becomes more and more and more clear, and more like Caspar was saying earlier, the purposefulness. It feels like, okay, you become clearer on the boot on the back of your neck, and how to rise up and push that boot off for yourself and other people.
I think standing on the side of "I oppose genocide" is a pretty easy like opinion, right? Like that's.
But shouldn't supporting a group that's anti-fascism also be a fairly simple thing to
you would assume?
But all of a sudden, the terrorists, terrorists, they're just anti-fascists.
It's and it's amazing how far we've come. But not only that, it all intertwines too. Like, again, we see all of the messaging flowing up to the top, either through social media or standard newsprint, right? And it makes sense. These narratives that are being pushed to us have been manipulated, and you can't blame the people that are believing their president, right? Like, that's, I don't blame them. I don't blame someone for believing Fox News. It's news, right? No, it's not. They stood in front of the Supreme Court and said, "We are not news," but yet it's in the name. I'm just watching the late night news. Oh my God. And they said we're being invaded.
So this is where that word I gave you earlier for the hashtag comes in, which is menticide.
Menticide. Yeah.
So menticide was used first by a Dutch psychiatrist treating victims of Nazi brainwashing. And it is...
This is a fun episode.
It is a fun episode, right? We're bringing the fun because our hashtag is bye menticide, because we can step away from this right now. Right now we can. Right, we may not be able to in the future. So we have to take this quite seriously and take action now.
Yes.
But it was, so this is about consent, right? The guy who coined that term was a guy called Joost Meerloo. Great name, great guy. He wrote a book called The Rape of the Mind. The Rape of the Mind.
Oof.
Yeah. And he talks about the defense that you need. So you need access to accurate information. You need to be able to talk to other people to triangulate that information. And you need to be in a position where you have time and space to process information with others. And that is genuinely one of the things that one of the activities that we're doing in Media Revolution includes all of those things, which is news clubs. So, you know, what we currently have, which is one of the reasons why we all feel so, and I'm bringing this round to hope intentionally, guys. I'm lifting the mood. I'm taking us down and lifting us up. We consumers of the news typically consume it in isolation. You get your feed, you've got your algorithm, you pick up your paper, you're on your own, you're just going to consume. You then, at the moment, social media, the way this also works is, if you're not sure about what you've read, you will then go to the comment section and you will look at what other people are saying to help you decide what you think. So you're using the I need other people to help me decide what to think. But what we've kind of lost sight of is that the comment section is also manipulated by cyber troops who are being, you know, we've got a paid system to control what's going on in the comment section. And also those people are being, if there are genuine people there, which there are a lot of, they're also being given menticide from elsewhere too. So the whole thing is very confusing.
And here's the amazing thing is I have had the conversation about not being on social media many times over the last probably 20 years. I'm trying to think when I was in college. That's when I first got on Facebook, and I've never been on it. And my whole point is why am I going to give someone I don't know all the information about me and all my conversations? I've never understood that. And even my own father called me a conspiracy theorist. What do you say when you confront people like this? There's so many people that have gotten blinders on, like, well, Elon Musk is the most successful man in the world, so he must be doing something right. And there's no way he would do what you're saying, but we know it's true. Like in IT, we found information. Like, I know who's behind these systems. It's me. That's fucking scary. And like, what do you say to people?
Well, if he's doing something right, maybe it's the thing that you're not questioning, which is the menticide, right? Just possibly. And also, you don't need to convince everybody. You know, there's this 3.5% of the population magic number, which is like, we just need enough people to get it to have a social tipping point. Yeah. And then, you know, it becomes the mainstream, becomes the norm, becomes the conditions for change. So
I know you probably want to hear what happened next on the show, but the following section is only available on the Fediverse. These uploads to big tech platforms such as YouTube, they're just to spread awareness about the Fedi. They were never supposed to be the official way for you to watch the show anyway. So go on and get the full episode on video.firesidefedi.live. It is absolutely free. Just a different website. This video will now continue from a bit later in the conversation.
That's interesting. So first off, my camera keeps following me. I keep turning it off, but then I realize that I have handprints on my shirt, so it keeps engaging again. So if it's following me, I apologize. So that's really interesting. So why, I mean, we can all agree. I've talked to so many people, pretty much from all parts of the spectrum, that are really sick and tired of the bullshit that's going on with social media. But we all have to exist there. You have to exist. LinkedIn. You have to exist there if you want a job. You have to exist there if you want to move to a job. If you want to network with other professionals, if you want to know what's coming up next, you have to be on LinkedIn. Why should people trust your union?
Democratic process, right? Membership engagement, membership vote. That's what there's a clear statement of why we're doing this and what the intention is, and it's to have better protection for the end user, and it's making itself very clear in its intention to give consumers the power to make the decisions and to do that in a collective manner, which is where our power comes from. Better, stronger together.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm all for this, by the way. I love the sounds of this. I will join this if there's like an American thing that I can join, because I wholly agree with this. I'm sick and tired of we default to Amazon for everything or something like that. So I'm all for this and helping other and having folks share knowledge with me about who is doing what and trying to make things better. What kind of stuff do you vote on? Like, are you talking about, again, just like we're going to boycott this, or this media organization, we will classify it as, factual or propaganda, that kind of thing? Because like there's media bias fact check. I pretty much always go to that website and check it. So where does the vote lie for those kinds of things?
Well, that's going to be made with the members. Right. So you do a lot of polling and you do a lot of surveys and you help them to understand what they have as consumer rights or what they perhaps would want to have as consumer rights that they don't have. And you engage them in a process of saying, would you prefer if when you're using LinkedIn, it didn't track every XYZ part of your privacy? So maybe it's an incremental change that you can leverage by saying to LinkedIn, there are this many people who want this change. Here is a reasonable step that you can take to improve your privacy standards, or whatever the thing is, or whatever the platform is. You give the education and the opportunity to the consumers to express an intention and express a desire to have that thing change. You present it to the media outlet and you say, your users want this, and they're prepared to take away their business if you don't do them. If you've got enough of those people, you get that change.
Interesting. There's
a lot of good history that I'm deep diving in at the moment about how how consumer unions have shaped history.
I've never even heard of them.
Right,
this is a wholly new thing to me.
It's an incredible history. There's a really good video on YouTube. I'll send it to you. It's America at Risk, and it talks about how the early medicines contained toxic chemicals, that were given to ill people, and was just like a handout of worse chemicals than and they changed because consumers got together and they said, hey, when I gave this medicine to my kid and they were they lost their voice instead of it making their cough better, I'm gonna connect with this other mother who had the same medicine given to her by her doctor, and we're going to come together and we're going to to give that feedback and say, hey, your product is not up to scratch. It's a feedback system that means that they were able to leverage a group of people saying, this medicine we're not going to accept, and we're going to let other people know, hey, this medicine is bad, so your sales are going to tank, you need to do better. Like, that's genuinely the way things have improved over time.
So this makes me think of, though, like the anti-vaccine movement, though. A lot of it is anecdotal hearsay evidence that people have taken on. It's just awful for you, right? And we live in the situation we live in now. But the democratic vote on something, like, is that like a democratic vote for everyone? Because maybe not everyone knows everything, or maybe it's more of an emotional response. How do you handle something like that so that that it is based in science, that, hey, Tylenol, there's no connection to autism, but there are some members in your organization that feel that they need to push that?
Complex, but possible. Thankfully, we're in an age where we have access to an incredible amount of information that we can be fairly certain of its accuracy and its scientific rigor, and it's peer reviewed and all the rest of it. So, and thankfully, we're we're dealing with things which are probably a little bit easier to say, easier to talk about privacy. We're easier to say,
yes, yeah.
look, when we talk about content moderation, there's an easier path for us to identify that child porn is something that we don't want our platforms to perpetuate and to allow that to happen.
Right.
So, what we say about community moderation standards improving, that's not so much, that's not such a controversial kind of debate as the vaccine per se.
Right, sure.
So, the evolution of a media consumer union as a new concept and as a novel organization is going to need to work with experts on how best to complete that process and to work with the audience. But the theory, if you look back through history, unions stack up. Unions have been destroyed because they have been very successful, and they have been branded, misbranded, and poorly represented intentionally, so that people don't set up unions and they don't unionize because that's too powerful, right? So, there's some really simple principles that we can come back to rather than getting kind of caught too much in the weeds and saying, when we come together as consumers, that we know that we're being treated as a product, and we know our standards our human rights are being violated and the standards are not acceptable to us. Individually, if I write a complaint letter to Facebook, they
don't give a shit. It won't even, that goes straight to the bin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas collectively, we organize, we do it as a whole, you've got some leverage.
You may have to use that leverage in a slightly different way. I'm just thinking about this and thinking this through and thinking, all of the people that read the Sun, for example, which is one of Rupert Murdoch's tabloids over here, they're never going to be part of this union, and they're never going to strike against the Sun.
Right.
But that doesn't stop you from having power if you have a large number of people that want to target the Sun and do it by leveraging influence at government policy level, for example.
And remember, that the Sun is like excluded from shelves in Liverpool following the Hillsborough disaster, because the Sun covered, that lied about what had happened in the Hillsborough disaster, which is a stadium deaths, football stadium crush that caused a lot of deaths. Okay. And the police, there was some, it's a real mess basically. But there was a police cover up, and the Sun covered up what was going on, and said that the fans were violent towards the police and all this sort of disinformation. So, for years since that happened, when the Sun, had to admit and finally issued an apology, in that whole of Liverpool, like, people do not like the Sun.
No, I always love the retraction and apology too, because you just did a 15-minute piece on how people attack someone else, and then you do a 2-second, well, we got that wrong, sorry.
On page 72, and it's this big.
Right, yeah, and they get to pick, well, we apologized. It's right there. It's in the fine print.
Yeah, intentionally so.
And one of the things that I again love about stuff like this is the Fediverse in general. Like, we talk about funding, right? Or with something like this, $1. These things do not cost as much as most people think they do. Yes, they cost money, but majority social media, right? Their lion's share of the money that they spend is on tracking you, advertisement, their advertisement network underneath, and then any toys that they're doing like AI. The rest of it at this point, they've had 20 years to perfect it, to minimize it, to reduce costs on it. What is next? Where can we get on next? So to be able to pick that stuff up and run with it, it really does not cost that much if everyone kind of contributes. So like you said, $1, like that's nothing. I would absolutely join something like that for $1. Or is it a quid?
I'm not sure what the exchange rate is at the moment, but it needs
I have no idea.
A nominal cost.
Right. Yeah. And even if it's one of those things where even if you're like, I hate what's going on,
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. It's $1, man. Like you feel good about like tossing whatever it is at the small thing so that people that are interested in doing it have the means and the experience, which I've been thinking the entire time. Someone that's done a lot of logistics and someone that knows the inside of the media organization. Like you guys seem like you were made for each other here. Little Liz Peddleton.
and yeah, I just to come back on what you just said there, I think there is an opportunity for people to pass over the authority and to gift their decision making to somebody that they trust, and they need to trust us, okay?
Right.
And we need to build that trust, and we want to do that in a very open and transparent way and talk about everything that we're doing in a really transparent way. And we also want to empower them so that there is a sense of agency, that they're involved in something big, that they're involved in making change. And if they want to have more involvement, if they want to come to meetings and they want to have a say, they can be involved. Like, this is as much how they want to steer it. This isn't, it's a process that is dependent on the involvement of others to make this work.
Yeah, we're so successful on this planet, and one of the reasons that we're the most successful animal on this planet is because we're so incredibly adaptable. We're the most adaptable thing here, and that is mentally adaptable as well. And unfortunately, what I think is going on is that we've picked absolutely crap leaders, and they and they're shaping our adaptability how they want, in a way that suits them. So we're talking about the tech bros, the billionaires, the Rupert Murdochs of the world, and if we come together and choose better leaders, we will be, most people that are nice and are friendly and want to be more of that, and it's and if we put the right things in place, that will happen.
When in a actual functioning democracy too, even if you have a shit leader, in theory, they're outweighed by the not shit ones. You're not going to agree with all of them. That's impossible. But when you start stacking one side or the other that does not represent the actual interests of the people, but act in the interests of the billionaires, whether intentionally or unintentionally, right? Like, again, we can all agree that the situation in Silicon Valley, the next bubble, whatever the hell it's going to be after the AI one, it's not tenable. Like people are suffering. People in frog suits getting fucking gassed and things. Like that's not, where's the violence in that? This has been a sobering show. This has been really fascinating though.
You say that there's people in frog suits. What about, and also the people in Jamaica, they've just been totally flattened. Absolutely flattened, and and they've been flattened. And of course, the leader of the free world is sitting there saying, "Well, yeah, they've been flattened, but the reason that they've been flattened doesn't even exist."
Yeah, that's good. We have to come up with better and stronger ways to measure how shit it is. We have to recategorize. It's got so fucking bad. We have run out of scale. We have to invent some new scales for how bad it is.
Shit.
Let's like look at that and take a fucking take a moment and go, no, that's not okay.
No, yeah. No, I've always found it hilarious that yes, thousands of scientists around the world are all conspiring, while they make almost no money whatsoever, conspiring to overthrow governments around the world because it's fun, versus a couple of people at the top that have vested interest in staying at the top. It's mind-boggling. So what's the best way that people can help?
Wow. Okay, great question. MediaRevolution.org website has got loads of information on it, as you pointed out earlier. There are many ways to get involved. There's always events coming up that you can attend on Zoom or in person if you happen to be in our neck of the woods, but on Zoom mostly. And obviously you want to move to Jitsi, but unfortunately we were stuck in Zoom a little bit at the beginning. So events is a great way to get involved. Join us on MoMe, come across and say hi, follow us on the socials that we're pointing out are bad, but we are there too. And think about setting up a news club. You know, so news clubs are really accessible. You can do it with friends, you can do it with family, you can do it with co-workers. You do 3 or 4 people, it's the minimum for a news club. Start looking at the news together, start talking about it, and connect in the news club network. Share what your experiences are, and we can help to link you with other news clubs. We can help empower you with information. You can join a rebuttal group. There are rebuttal groups ready to push out the information that is countering the disinformation. And lastly, I'd say join the Media Consumer Union called Touch Paper when it launches on November 5th. You won't find it online yet.
Okay, that's what I was just gonna check. What is the URL going to be?
Well, unknown right now because it's underneath Media Revolution. So it's a page within Media Revolution right now, like Momi is, but Momi has its own. It will have one. I'm not sure what it is yet.
Okay.
You haven't talked about Cover Story yet, Liz. We've got this funky little action on the 5th of November, on Media Liberation Day on the 5th of November, where people are going to print off exactly what Liz is holding up to the camera now, a version of this messaging, and then go and place this on top of the newspapers, which we're terming the newspapers that are malignant, the malignant media over here. Rupert Murdoch's newspapers, we'll go back to Murdoch's newspapers, and just pop this little notice on the top of them so that other people maybe think twice about the effect that these newspapers are having on their minds.
Sorry, I'm looking at the page now. I love this. Billionaire opinion is not news. Who paid for these stories? Change the media, change the future. Media Liberation Day. We deserve the truth.
And the QR code points you to the site so that you can find Momi and news clubs. So it's not like just this is a problem. It's like, and here's a pathway for you to take to empower yourself and others to be free from menticide. Say bye-bye menticide.
I mean, I don't know UK laws, but I'm trying to think in the US how they're going to classify this as terrorism.
We've worked really hard on this. We've had expert advice. We've got the UK laws up there. Basically, as long as you don't touch the paper and you just lay it on top and you walk away, you are not tampering with anything. You didn't touch anything. No criminal damage. You just lay it on top.
You're walking on the floor, though. Are they going to?
I mean, you're right. That's the worst thing they could probably do you for would be trespass. But
it's open to the public, right?
Exactly. We also suggest if you want to go and buy your lunch from the shop, then that's fine too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so check the laws in your country. Be careful if you're in a store where there's an aggressive security guard. You know, be mindful. Just do one and run away. If you're in a store where there's lots of papers and no security cards, do them all. It's a beginning, right? There's lots of ways that we can think about how to get the message out, and this is just one of them.
I'm realizing how liberal I have become, not because I've become more liberal, but because everything else seems to have gone so far the other way.
Yeah.
I now host a show where we're having this conversation, right? It's not anything outlandish. It's as outlandish as I'm against genocide.
Totally.
You know, and if they come for us as organizers of this, then that's one I'm gonna go.
That's one of the things with the alternate media of socials that I've told people is, I'm more than happy to be there at this point to find those that are interested in being found so that others don't have to.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to be on there if there was an option to not be and get our message out, but it is slowly, it's going a trickle, but those voices need to be out there somewhere to help people realize there's better ways. You have a choice in this. We don't have to keep putting up with this shit.
Exactly.
And again, as you said earlier, I'm very privileged in where I'm at. I am not suffering, but I look at the route we've already gone down. And in the next 20 years, where the hell are we going to be? That's what scares me.
Yeah. But we take action now. It's not so scary now. For a lot of people, they can do something meaningful and celebrate being on the side of liberation from this horrendous system that will then in turn help others be free.
Yeah. We can always reduce the harm.
Yeah. All right. Now, for the real reason I asked Liz and Caspar here is to give them the opportunity to win a prize of a lifetime.
Oh, yes. You.
Our prize today is a trained fox that only gnaws on Rupert Murdoch.
Yes. My favorite sort of fox.
Yeah. Thought about a private police force, but we know that you've met a lot of police intimately enough, so we figured you didn't need that anymore. You ready for the quiz?
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
All right. First question. Favorite movie and why is it Spaceballs?
Spaceballs.
Oh,
Is it really? Because I've had a couple of people that actually it is my favorite movie. I love Spaceballs.
It's never ending story because it is great. That's it.
for me today is Ex Machina or Ex Machina, which
one was that? Is that the one where the guy builds the robots?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's creepy as shit.
Yeah.
Never ending story. Actually, which one? 1, 2, or 3? I think there's actually a fourth too, isn't there?
is that
The original, whatever, probably the first
Okay.
one. The one
When
with
you actually look at that from a 30,000-foot view, that movie is also really creepy and dark.
The
But-
nothing. The nothing is
The
coming.
nothing.
The
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah.
The
the scene of
nothing.
horse as well, dying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Betray
right.
you.
Heart
Betray you.
attacks. That kid should have won an Oscar for that performance. Like, dude.
If you
let me-
enjoyed that as a kid, do not watch it as an adult. I tell you now, though, it will ruin everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The special effects, that sleep
Doesn't
dragon,
hold up.
was like super, super amazing in
It's
your mind.
real.
Yeah, no, don't watch it again. I promise you.
So let me ask you this: if your favorite movie is The Neverending Story, what is his mother's name? Because I still to this day don't have a clue what that kid yells out. You don't know either.
Jennifer?
No.
No, I don't. I pass.
Does Casper know?
No,
I have no idea. He yells it, and I have
Yeah, no.
right. Yeah, her name is. What a beautiful name. All right. Next question.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Red, blue, green, or yellow?
green.
Green. Okay.
Red, black and white and red all over. That's a newspaper.
No, I was going to ask. So why is it green and why is it black and white and red all over?
Well, it's green because it always. Whenever I was asked that at school when I
Yeah.
was a kid, I would always say green because of nature, because it's where I grew up. Really, it's just well, it's sort of. I was
like,
going to
yeah.
say it's just a naive little kid thing to say, isn't it? But it's actually really quite a nice thing to say.
I have a window right here. I have a bird feeder on my window so I can see birds come in. Green is majority of what's out there, right? I can see some of the sky, which is blue, but I see trees and grass everywhere. So, Liz, what was yours?
Black and white and red all
No.
over.
Why black and white and red all over?
Do you not know this one? What's black and white and red all over? A newspaper.
Rupert Murdoch falling down the steps?
Because it's when the word is RE, instead of RED for the color, it's READ. It's red all over.
Oh, I did not know that one. That's that's either a dad joke or a media joke. That's why. I mean, I'm a dad, but I did not get that.
You can have that one for free. You're so welcome.
Thank you. My kids will love it. All right. Next question. Jammy Dodgers, Spotted Dick, Knickerbocker Glory. And might I point out to those that do not know UK cuisine, those are foods and not euphemisms.
Spotted dick.
I was going to say spotted dick every day of the week.
Genuinely.
Why do you just love Spotted Dick?
You has to have it with custard, right?
Mm.
It's really, really tasty with custard.
That sounds sticky.
Oh, it's gick. I mean, it's gick. It's total gick. It's amazing. Sweet.
It really is. Got to be the right temperature.
Be fresh. All sponge puddings like that have to be
You
fresh.
just got to get that Spotted Dick right in your mouth. Just get it right inside you. Yep.
Absolutely. Nothing better than munching on a bit of spotted dick after supper.
Probably get it checked first. All right. I swear, the English in the US, we have this mentality that you're all so like uppity, and then you have foods that are like spotted dick, and you just take it seriously. It's like, what is this? Oh, and for anyone that wants to watch an insane show, the English Parliament, those guys are nuts. They just scream and yell at each other. Like it
God.
looks like something out of a ridiculous comedy show. It's great.
It's like braying horses. The opposition are just, there's all these different terms that they can use and all these different sounds. It's like a tribal, like, bah, bah, bah. It's like, what's going on here? It's a way to like have debate. What's happened?
Like this, yeah. Just get them sword. Let them end it. I mean, like let's see. Really go at it, guys. Oh, you don't want to now. We just want to stand there and yell at each other, right? Gotcha. Okay, next question is, what does an alternate universe Liz and Caspar do?
Oh, do you know what?
I don't. That's why I asked.
Well, when we activists often have a conversation about what would you do, day job dreams, right? Like no stress, no pressure. If everything was totally all right with the world and you had enough money in your bank and the planet wasn't on fire, what would you just do if you had to have a job, but it didn't really matter how much you was getting paid? I'd go for bus driver. I really enjoy driving, which is a totally unenvironmental friendly thing to say, and Caspar will have my guts for garters, but I enjoy driving and I love meeting people. And I just think that being a bus driver is a cool thing to do. But a genuine utopian version of that, I'm like snowboarding, hanging out by a lake, doing nothing, reading books. There's like proper dreams there. But yeah, bus driver will do.
Okay. And Caspar, and I have to say this, I'm sorry, I've tried my entire time not saying it, but I have to now. I would assume your alternate universe is a friendly ghost.
I am a ghost in an alternative universe. Yes. Yeah, that ghost is going to haunt me to my grave. Really.
Every day, you get that every day, don't you?
Every single day, and I laugh at it because it's funny every single day.
No, wait, is it funny because you're just like, you are such a poor, pitiful soul, or do you just like, yeah, I actually do enjoy that?
Do you know what? I used to absolutely loathe it and hate that joke because my name is not spelled like that. My name is spelled AR, not PR, like fucking ghost.
Yeah.
But as I've got older, I've realised it just gives people something to latch onto and they can remember. Right. So it's a gift. And it is a gift. Caspar, the name Caspar comes from the Bible and it means bringer of gifts.
Yeah.
It's one of the three wise men.
What do I get?
Yeah.
Rousing conversation.
He'll feel bad now for weeks.
So what would you say an alternate universe Caspar does?
Well, the ultimate universe Caspar would probably be more successful at what I tried to do when I left music college, which was be a professional musician and be in a band.
Okay. Interesting. So I have an alternate universe phone. It changes from week to week. Right now it is a NASA mouse pad. And I could call up alternate universes. Don't ask how it works. It's very technical. You wouldn't understand. No offense. So reach out to an alternate universe, Liz and Caspar, and they are the creators of Media De-Evolution. Unfortunately, they were so good at it that apparently it's spilled over into our reality. So I just need to put out there, bad, Liz and Caspar, bad. We'll make them come over here and clean it up. All right. Next question is, who, what, where, or why?
When?
I forgot when.
Well, no, I'm asking you when, who, why, what, when, what,
yeah,
how?
Or when. Yeah. Who, what, where, why, when. I thought about how, but that one doesn't seem to go well.
You want to know now?
Yeah.
Oh, us, you,
Third
me,
base.
all of us over there wearing
okay.
and penguin outfits. Because.
Okay. And Caspar, and you can't take any of that, Caspar. Liz already took all of it.
So I have to actually say a person then, don't I? Blimey. I'm pretty
I'm pretty sure that was the most English thing on this show ever, was blimey. I love that.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Talk up now.
Please follow it up with a spot of tea. No, that's fine. It's interesting. When I always have these questions in my head, I always imagine them going one way and people take them in such a different way. I was just wondering like, which would you pick word wise, but no, that was great. I love it. Okay. Then as usual, the last question will be sent to Liz and Caspar telepathically. So please make sure you open up your telepathic lines and I will send them to you. Take your time because these questions are always very long, very complex because they're sent telepathically instantly. So I will send it now. You ready? All right, there it is. I know it's a massively huge question. Take your time and let me know your answer. Whoever is ready, whenever you're ready.
MediaRevolution.org.
Okay. And Caspar, you can't take that one, so.
Well, no. It was the Kingfishers. It wasn't me.
All right. There you go. And it's interesting how you two came to such different answers to that very same question. But, hey, you can interpret it however you want. Congratulations. You got every answer correct or incorrect. Good job. Unfortunately, I won't be able to give you your prize of a trained fox that only gnaws on Rupert Murdoch because we thought it was too inhumane for that fox to be anywhere near Rupert Murdoch. So maybe next time. But thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a blast. Anything you guys want to say before we head out?
Oh, thank you so much for having us. It was absolutely a wild ride.
Yeah.
I really thoroughly enjoyed it. So I really appreciate
fun.
your time and your questions and your skill that you bring to this. You are part of the media revolution and we couldn't be happier to be connected.
I am happy to hear that because this shit needs to change. Right? Like, oh, but thank you so much. And everyone out there that's watching, that's listening to this, thank you all so much. Again, not that it's my saying, but a very famous person once said, you are a part of the media revolution. And this doesn't work without you folks here. So really, thank you. Share things out. Doesn't have to be my stuff. There's no algorithms. Share it out organically if you like it. I don't know. I got nothing else to say. Thank you all so much. You have a great day. Catch you next time.
Bye. Thank you.